Speaking of institutionals, you are an institutional investor. How does the way a college or a nonprofit manages its money different than how individuals do, and how does that manifest in the way that you relate to your clients?
One of the things that I've always said is for a lot of these institutions, it's just a couple more zeros. So they could be managing, tens of millions of dollars, some of them hundreds of millions of dollars. I worked with endowments that manage billions of dollars, right? And I don't think because you have that much more money that you should automatically just throw out all the, philosophical reasons that you invest and the values that you invest in. That asset allocation is still really important, and matching your time horizon with your risk profile is still very important, and having your portfolio match your goals. Like what are you investing for in the first place? I think those things all still matter. Now, where it does get different is when you're dealing with an institutional pool of capital, you're dealing with groups of people. So they could have a board or an investment committee, and there's a lot of politics involved in that. And sometimes with nonprofits, you have people who are volunteering, and
right.
God bless them for wanting to volunteer. But a lot of times they want to come in and say, all right, I'm volunteering.
Dogecoin. You should be Dogecoin.
So, hey, I know this private equity manager. I can get you in. And I think we should come in and totally change the portfolio. And so just like with individual investors that we work with, we think it's really important to have the entire process of investing documented. So you have an investment policy statement that lists, here's the reason we're investing in the first place. Here's our time horizon. Here's how much spending and how much money we're going to take out every year. Here's our goals. Here's some of our sort of benchmarks. Here's our target asset allocation. So I think you need to have a lot of that stuff documented. And I think that can help for individuals as well. Carl Richards has a great book, Behavior Gap. And he also has this book called The One-Page Financial Plan, where he says you can do it in one page if you want. But I think if you have some of that stuff documented, it's not like it's set in stone, but it's something that you can look at on occasion when one of these periods hits and you go, well, let's take a look at my investment plan. Have my goals changed at all? Have my financial circumstances? Because I think those are better reasons for making big changes to your portfolio than what's going on in the market. Obviously, you can take advantage of markets when they fall or when they rise, and you can rebalance, and you can try to find, right now, you could find things that are on sale and maybe make, well-timed purchases for things that are going to do well in the future. But I think those huge shifts you make in something like an asset allocation probably has more to do with your personal financial circumstances, or your job or your savings rate. Or maybe you have a life event, you have a child, or you get married, or you get a divorce, whatever it is. I think those reasons make more sense to me than making a wholesale shift to your investment strategy just because stocks are down.
Along those lines, do you find that couples fight more when markets are down about what their household strategy should be?
That's a good question. I think so. I've certainly gotten more questions from my wife in recent months about like recessions and these sorts of things.
Right.
But one of the things that, as someone who pays attention to the markets all the time, like you, most normal people just don't pay attention to this stuff as much as we think.
Yeah.
Right. Like we're in this stuff and we're paying attention and we're reading blogs and we're listening to podcasts and we're reading books and I follow this stuff every day. And then I go to like a bar or a restaurant and meet my friends and I see all these people shopping and I realize, oh, these people aren't thinking about the stock market all the time like me. They just don't care. And you know what? That's true. Not of just regular people out there. That's true of like our clients too. And sometimes you have to remind yourself that like, you have to make this stuff more easy and accessible for these people because they don't either have the bandwidth to do it because they're busy, they're dealing with family, they have a job, or they just don't want to and they want to outsource it to someone else. So I think for a lot of people, they don't want to pay attention to this stuff all the time. And I think honestly, for most people, that's probably the right way to do it. Either you're really, really in it all the time, or decide I'm going to detach myself from this. I'm not going to pay attention to the headlines. I'm going to set a plan and I'm going to kind of set it and forget it. Because I think the problem is the people who just dabble and they pay attention more in a bear market. And then I'm going to try to do more. And then in a bull market happens, they kind of forget about it again. And they're either, halfway in or halfway out. And they don't decide to do one or the other. There's been these studies that show the people who just forget their password tend to have the best returns because they just leave things alone and let the markets
right.
do the work for them.
That's hilarious.